If I can have your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and welcome to today's dedication of this amazing facility, Charlotte and Gordon Hansen Stadium. Today we celebrate the community of Jamestown and our incredibly generous donors for making this truly a community project. I'd like to greet some people. First, the Board of Trustees from the University of Jamestown, the School Board of Jamestown Public Schools, University President Dr. Polly Peterson, Jamestown Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Rob Leck, members of the Jamestown community, student athletes, staff, and coaches from the University of Jamestown, Activities Director Jim Rolson, and student athletes and staff from Jamestown High School. And finally, I'd like to remind everybody it was homecoming last week for the Blue Jays, and it's homecoming this week for the Jimmies, so we want to welcome all of our alums from both institutions. You know, it took the willingness to partner and the courage, vision, and hard work of everyone in our community and around the country to make this dream a reality. At this time, I'd like you to direct your attention to the video board for a special presentation.
The Blue Jay track and field and cross-country teams would like to thank all of those that were integral to making this facility a reality.
It will give the Blue Jay programs the opportunity to showcase both our student athletes as well as the community of Jamestown.
We'd like to thank everyone who played a part in creating this amazing facility, to all the donors, to all the people behind the scenes that putting everything together. For those of us in Blue Jay football, we're going to be creating many, many memories for here for many years to come. Thank you very much.
This is an absolutely beautiful facility, the best the state has to offer, and we couldn't have built it without all of the wonderful donors. Each different lane is dedicated to somebody. Each different field event is dedicated to somebody. And I've got the track team standing behind me, and they have something they want to say to everybody.
Thank you.
We want to thank everybody that was involved in building this beautiful project. Charlotte and Gordon Hansen Stadium is one of the best places in the NAI to play football, and so all of our alumni, all of our donors, all the community members that made this happen. I know our guys love playing here, and this is such a huge thing for our community and our program and what we're trying to build here at Jimmy Football. So everybody, thank you so much. Go Jimmies on three. 1, 2, 3.
Go Jimmies!
If you're not fired up now, I don't know what we're going to do with you. So if you're not, Coach Mistral will come by and instruct you. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the University of Jamestown, Dr. Polly Peterson.
So homecoming is a time of celebration as we reconnect with our alumni and friends who share our passion for the university, whose culture is rooted in developing and sustaining special relationships. During the fall of 1926, Jamestown College hosted its first homecoming. Following a period of reinvestment in America's infrastructure, 9 years later, the college dedicated a new stadium that had been, believe it or not, hand-dug by 200 young men. America's 32nd president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, was present on our campus to celebrate their work. Although much has changed in the past 95 years since the first homecoming celebration, I think it is fair to say that some things never change. From the beginning, the university has been surrounded by a community of visionary leaders who believed in the value of a private university and what it could bring to this community. For a bid of $20,000 and a gift of land, Jamestown College became the first North Dakota university to be chartered in our state. Since that fall day in October 1883, our commitment to providing a holistic education for students where liberal arts and Christian faith are intricately woven into the fabric of what has become a thriving Midwestern university. Those decisions have consistently guided our decisions for 138 years. And throughout the past 14 decades, there are numerous examples of the community and the college collaborating to support the academic, athletic, and artistic needs of a growing population of people, young and old. Today represents a beautiful outcome of what is possible when all work together, town and gown. 20 months ago, with the support, the courageous support of a board of directors at both the University of Jamestown and Jamestown Public Schools, we brought together a project that brought hope to a community that needed it. I can promise you that this project was not without its roadblocks. From storm sewers to utility lines, from parking lots to field events, fundraising, and bridge financing, each new challenge was met with solution-minded collaborators who ensured that 1 year after breaking ground, we stand here today celebrating what is arguably the best, most beautiful football stadium and track in the entire Midwest. There are so many people to thank, but I know that Brett is planning to do that in a few minutes. I do, however, want to thank a few. I want to thank this community, first of all, for believing in this project. I want to thank Rob Leck and the Jamestown Public School Board for believing that we could come together and do something so much better together than we could do on our own. I want to thank JLG and Lonnie Lafine, who unfortunately passed before he got to see this beautiful development that occurred with his vision. I'd like to thank J.E. Dunn, who constructed this amazing facility. We have worked with them twice now on both the Newman Arena and now this stadium, and I'm convinced that somehow, through some kind of magic, they have the ability to stretch a dime into a dollar. When you partner with somebody like them, who is here day and night, walking beside us as they become like our family. And I can honestly say to you that Matt and his team have been adopted into the UJ family. To Travis Dahlman and Dwayne Heinrich and the City Council, thank you for your support as well. Sean Johnson and Dustin Jensen, who spent nights and weekends overseeing the gazillions of decisions that had to get made. Guess what, you two? It's time for a vacation. And lastly, to some of the donors who provided the heavy lift at the beginning of this process. As we all know, a capital campaign runs and is successful because some people step up early to provide confidence to those that come after them. I'm going to name a few of them at the risk of knowing I will miss a few, but I think it's important to recognize Joida Hansen for the courage to step up and believe that we could pull this off in a short period of time. Thank you. To First Community Credit Union, we asked you for the biggest gift anyone had probably ever asked you, and you said yes. And as a result, many followed. To Unison Bank, to Farmers Union Insurance, to Will Bernhagen, whose name you won't see here anywhere, because he gave to ensure that this field remained Raleigh-Greeno Field. To Clarice and Ruben Lichty, who remind me often that they really aren't sports fans, but they believe in this community. And because they believe in this community, they supported this project. To Jim Johnson and Darren Ersted and Sanford Health, and I have to mention one other who I think donated before we even knew what we were doing, to a good friend of mine sitting up in the stands. Thank you. You know who you are. Thank you so much. There are so many of you, Steve Bromberger. I had to say it, sorry. He did. He sent me a text before we even knew what we were doing. I'm in, he said. And so did 280 others of you who said, I'm in. I can't thank you enough. Lastly, I need to thank my husband, Darren, because he puts up with the crazy ideas that I have and the dreams that I think are possible when I don't know if anyone else believes that. But he's there to support me, even when I'm not home a lot, traveling. It's been an amazing ride. Thank you. In a period of 19 months where Zoom was often the only way we could come and talk to you, you all said yes. 2 months ago, we welcomed back to campus our faculty and staff. My husband and I hosted a potluck up on the Jim Johnson Plaza. Afterwards, a few of us stayed late to watch the sunset over the hill. And I couldn't help but think about the first president of this university, Dr. Baron Cruzy. Arriving on the scene after 16 years of boarded windows and abandoned hallways, President Cruzy looked over a twigless, windy hill with little else to ponder but the magnitude of his decision to leave a prominent presidency at Whitworth to become the first president at the University of Jamestown. Instead of looking pessimistically at his situation, Cruzy looked over the hill at the horizon, only to set eyes on the most gorgeous display of incredible beauty and sky that he had ever seen, something we know as the James River Valley. With love in his heart, he exclaimed, quote, "It is simply magnificent. It is superb. Never have I ever seen anything like it." 2 months ago, when Darren and I sat up there and we looked back at this campus that doesn't barely resemble itself, all we could say is it's simply magnificent. It is superb. Never have I ever seen anything like it. I'm so emotional today because this is a gift to this community, to the university, to our students, most importantly, to the high school students who will play here, to the visitors that we will welcome here, to the athletes at UJ whose lives get transformed when they say yes to becoming a Jimmy. This is incredible. We pinch ourselves. Is this really our campus? It is. It is, because people give out of substance, not surplus here. They give because they love it. They love this community, they love these students, and they want more for you. So you Blue Jays and you Jimmies up there, we want more for you. This was for you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. All I can say to end this is thank God, from whom all blessings flow. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us be glad. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. For those I have not had the chance to meet, my name is Rob Leck. I'm the superintendent in Jamestown for the Jamestown Public Schools. I also would like to thank you all for the time and dedication to join us here at the Hansen Stadium. And to honor all of our donors, it's hard to believe, Polly, that it was only, as you said, 20 months ago, that we were in your conference room having discussions about the viability of again exploring a shared facility between the Jamestown Public Schools and the University of Jamestown. As many here already know, discussions around shared facilities have happened in Jamestown for quite some time. Conversations predate existing leadership, Dr. Peterson and myself. We, along with the community of Jamestown, have long known that working together was a great solution. But we didn't have the right needs at the right time with the right plan until what has now become the Charlotte and Gordon Hansen Stadium and Erstead Field on the Jamestown High School campus started to come into focus during those meetings just 2 short years ago. I have a great appreciation for those meetings because it was clear from the outset that this was intended to be a home for both Jimmies and Blue Jays. As you look around this beautiful stadium, you'll see that to be true. There's been a commitment to all student athletes, coaches, and fans that you will see yourself here in the stadium. It is truly all we could have hoped for, that we hoped it would become the type of venue that our students and community deserve. We have many of our students from the University of Jamestown and Jamestown Public Schools. Could I ask you to please stand to be recognized if you are a student here at the University of Jamestown or at Jamestown Public Schools? As Dr. Peterson said just a few moments ago, this is for you. We wanted facilities that matched your dedication, your passion, and your commitment. That's what these provide to you, is this representation of the work you do every day. Coaches, I know that there's a number of coaches that are here as well. I'd like to recognize them too, please. As many around can imagine, $11.7 million ventures between public-private, K-12 higher education don't simply happen. They are products of cultivated relationships over years. While this is certainly the pinnacle of what can happen when we work together, it is not the only example of what has happened between the University of Jamestown and Jamestown Public Schools. Even just in recent years, that includes dual credit opportunities, Teacher Leadership Academy, shared opportunities for aviation and drone technology at the Career and Tech Center. Just awesome opportunities for all of our students, whether they are Jimmies or whether they are Blue Jays. I look forward to many more years of continued collaborations between our universities, our institutions, the University and Jamestown Public Schools. And I want to take this opportunity to publicly appreciate and thank Dr. Peterson on behalf of Jamestown Public Schools for her vision, dedication, and commitment to these partnerships. Dr. Peterson, this is the kind of magic we can do when we work together. What perhaps has amazed me the most about this whole process has been the outpouring of support from the community. Whether that includes well wishes, large donations, small donations, or maybe even the occasional, it's about time. This project came together far more quickly than I ever could have imagined it possible. And I can't articulate the sense of pride I feel in the community every time we talk about Hansen Stadium and every time we talk about Erstead Field. And while we're here at the beautiful Hansen Stadium, it's important for me to also recognize the Erstead Field. Having a turf practice field, which is part of this project, was an important part for us at Jamestown Public Schools. In transitioning to a shared stadium, we had concerns about safety, travel of our students. We had concerns about the long-term viability of historic Ernie Gates Field and the costs to eventually upgrade that field. And when Erstead Field was added to this project, a great idea became an easy decision. For those that don't know, Erstead Practice Field is a field that will support hundreds of students of Jamestown Public Schools every year. Built to soccer field dimensions with an addition for softball, it will impact students in many different seasons, from football to soccer to softball to physical education. And after this event, I welcome anybody that wishes to join us on the high school campus and walk Erstead Field. You can do that following this event. We ask that you drive to the loop on the south side of the high school and enter the practice field from the north. Again, thank you to the community of Jamestown for outpouring of support, the donors and sponsors for your generosity, the University of Jamestown staff and Jamestown Public Schools staff and school board for your leadership in making this a facility for both Blue Jays and Jimmy's. We have provided world-class facilities for students and for our community, and all involved are truly appreciated for making this a reality. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. As I reflect upon this project, the question that I've been asked over and over and over again is, how did this happen? How did this happen amidst a global pandemic? How was $11.7 million raised and we have a fully funded project? As I reflect on the history of gifts and giving, I believe three things happened. Those three things are: number one, courage; number two, partnership; and number three, lifestyles of generosity were displayed. Courage and partnership have been touched on already this afternoon, so I won't go into those because President Peterson and Dr. Leck did a great job talking about the courage that this project needed. Our Board of Trustees in February of 2020 were in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we voted to move forward on not just a dream or a want, but what had become a need. Safety was a concern. Giving students the experience that we desire to give them at the University of Jamestown was not happening here in this beautiful facility and setting. So courage was demonstrated in a month later after that board meeting when the country shut down. Thank you, Chairman Unruh and our Board of Trustees, giving us confidence to move forward and continue a fundraising plan. I want to personally thank Jim Johnson, Will Bernhagen, Steve and Kathy Beets, Steve Braunberger, and Dennis Brennan for the confidence you instilled in me as a young fundraiser who has never done a project of this magnitude. Thank you. This project is complete because of lifestyles of generosity. 287 total donors to the project, 87 donors giving $10,000 or more. And every gift matters. Every gift was special, and I found that every gift was filled with a story. I firmly believe that one of the dominant cultural idols of our time is money. The United States of America is founded on prosperity, affluence, success, and security. So to fundraise and to ask folks to give during an economic downturn amidst a global pandemic, we were coming right up against one of the deepest idols in the society in which we live. Here's my point as I thought about that. You don't begin to demonstrate generosity when uncertainty is staring you in the face, if you already haven't developed that rhythm of generosity in your life in the first place. The DNA was there. The horsepower of the alumni and friends of the University of Jamestown had already been built. All it was to let that generosity flow. And it did. And we're thankful. And to all of you who have come today, you allowed that lifestyle to spill over, to help not yourselves, but to help students, to help coaches, to give them the encouragement that they needed, and to give a community in the middle of North Dakota a gift. In early April 2020, just a month after, or 2 months after we had met in Scottsdale, our campus was a ghost town. Staff and faculty were pretty much working from home. Dorms were empty as students had all gone home. It was 4:30 in the afternoon, and President Peterson was up in her office at Tabor, and I was downstairs in my office in Tabor Hall. And we had a Zoom call with Dr. Joida Hansen. We had been in Minneapolis on March 5th, just a month earlier, and we asked Joida to consider a lead gift to the football and track renovation project. Something happened that day on Zoom that I will never forget. Joida said, when it came to that moment when she gave us her conclusion, "I am not going to give you what you asked for." And I'm like, oh crap. And to finish that sentence, she said, "I'm not going to give you what you asked for because I see a greater need here." And she committed $1 million more than what we asked for. That is a lifestyle of generosity, Joida. So alumni and friends and community members, would you welcome our first speaker as a donor today, our lead donor to the project, a special woman who is as classy as they come, Dr. Joida C. Hansen.
Thank you, Brett. Well, this is a great day to be a Jimmy. It's a great day to be a Blue Jay. Just fabulous. I want to congratulate the university, the Jamestown School District, and the community of Jamestown for coming together to create this first-class facility for track and field and for football. And I'm sure they'll find many additional uses along the way for this great, great stadium. My parents, Charlotte and Gordon Hansen, would be so proud to see the terrific collaboration among so many that made the day possible. They always hoped for the gap between town and gown to be narrowed, and it certainly has been now. My folks were lifelong residents. They were born in Jamestown. They attended Jamestown Public Schools, and then they climbed the hill to Jamestown College. I'm not exaggerating when I say that Jamestown was the center of their universe. And I know they've been gone a while, but those of you who remember that know that that was true. They owned the Jamestown Sun, I must say, back in the day when it was published 6 days a week and actually delivered to people's homes. And they were both active in community organizations, and they each served as trustees of the university. So both the community and the university were in their hearts. I'm proud to say that they each were honored to receive the Jamestown Citizen of the Year Award, which I think is a testament to their community engagement and their leadership, both at the university and within the community. Our family home was just up the hill behind you on 11th Avenue Northeast, so I walked past the stadium every day on my way to Lincoln School for grade school. Back in the 1950s, my mom actually taught microbiology and lab sciences to the nursing students at the university. And I would, on my way home from Lincoln School, I would detour up the hill to Our Lady Hall to help her with her laboratory preparations, primarily doing petri dishes of bacteria. We attended more than our share of graduations, nurse pinnings, and basketball and football games. And when we didn't attend, we could hear the stadium at our 11th Avenue home. When my parents were students at UJ, they danced the jitterbug, which I think was scandalous at the time, in the Hansen Center gym. And when this Hansen Center still had a swimming pool, which I understand that students don't know now, because it's so long ago, but my folks would take Girl Scout Troop 40 swimming there during the winter season so that we would have our indoor sports at that time. And at one time, I think it was probably in about the 1970s, the Hansen Center also housed a couple of courts where my dad would go to play a very wicked game of racquetball. And when I was a graduate student, I'd come home for visits and try to play with him, and he never, ever let me win. But speaking of 11th Avenue Northeast and Girl Scout Troop 40, I want to thank a few special guests that are here today. Wendy Bannister, who grew up down the block from us and became a lifelong friend of Charlotte and Gordon, along with her family, who were lifelong friends of theirs, are here today. Thank you for coming. And then I mentioned Girl Scout Troop 40, and some of the women who were girls in Troop 40 way back when are here today. And I'm going to introduce them by their maiden names. Nadine Otto, Danelle Churchill, Patty Clemens, and Mary Holton. Thank you for coming today. My folks would be very honored to have you here. And my husband is here, John Campbell, and he drives me around to all these meetings because we only have one car when we're here, so thank you, John. Well, when my parents retired, they spent winters in Arizona, but they never for a moment considered up giving their residency in North Dakota. When May arrived, they loaded their dog and 2 cats into their van and deadheaded back to Jamestown. My mom, and the Girl Scouts will attest to this, who loved to drive fast, had the speeding tickets to prove that they were deadheading home. They were always glad to be back in Jamestown, to renew their friendships and to resume their community activities. I know that developing collaborations like this, as both Polly and the superintendent have indicated, across multiple entities can be a tricky business. It requires patience, compromise, creativity, and just plain gritty determination to make the project happen. My parents would be so proud of the university, the school district, and the community for pulling together to create this fabulous venue for the Jimmies and the Blue Jays. Not to mention, I want to give a big thank you to all of the donors who have stepped up to make this athletic facility a reality. It's just amazing the way the faculty, the alums, the administration, the community members, and the community businesses have come together to support this project. So thank you to everyone who has given to this. So in closing, go Blue Jays, go Jimmies, and let's get that homecoming win tomorrow.
Our next speaker is Steve Schmitz. He's the CEO and president of First Community Credit Union. Steve, I remember the day we were very distanced in your conference room, and we got to spend some time with your executive team, and others were on Zoom from around the state of North Dakota. So thank you for being the lead donor and sponsor of the track and helping us build this beautiful facility as well. Steve Schmitz.
Good afternoon, and I promise I will keep my remarks short. I was honored when I was asked a few weeks ago if I was willing to share a few words of what it means for First Community Credit Union to support this project. I started reflecting and gathering my thoughts, and in doing so, I just came up with a few words. The first is opportunity. A community like Jamestown does not get chances like this very often. And when you do, you need to make the most of them, and you need to get it right the first time. This isn't Fargo. This isn't Minneapolis. If we don't do this right, there isn't going to be a second chance. There's not another stadium we can build 5 years from now to cover for the mistakes made. The next word that came to my mind was perseverance. You've heard a lot of people talk about it indirectly, but when you looked at the old Ernie Gates Field, you looked at the old UJ track here, and those were at one time historic, top-of-the-line facilities, but it was obvious, and I think almost everybody would agree that it was time that something be done. To me, it seemed a shared facility was the right answer, but there were so many obstacles. No lights for night games, no locker rooms. The grass field couldn't even hold up for one homecoming game occasionally, let alone multiple high school games and college games on a weekly basis. So people went initially looking in different directions, and there were several other proposals that weren't right, and in fact, our community turned them down with a resounding no. Some people might have quit at that point, but in our case, the right people persevered. They kept looking and finally came up with the solution we see here today. I often say that I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I'll know it when I see it. That is exactly how I felt when I first saw this proposal. Finally, the right people had come together at the right time. They navigated all the obstacles and roadblocks. They answered all the questions and came up with the plan for this facility you're sitting in today. At First Community Credit Union, we believe in investing in our infrastructure. And part of that investment includes giving back to the communities that we live in. So when Polly and her team and the leadership from the high school approached us, it was obvious and immediate that we knew we needed to be a part of this. This facility isn't just a football stadium or a track and field. This is an asset for the entire community of Jamestown. The events held here will have an impact on our hotels, our restaurants, and our retail businesses, and that impact will be felt years and even decades from now. My final thought that this is a major accomplishment for our city and something we should be celebrated, something we're doing today. Things like this don't happen by accident, and I feel fortunate that we had the leadership with the foresight to bring it together, to make it a reality. I look and I personally feel a sense of pride and humility when I look out and I see all this. This is an amazing facility. It will be an awesome part of Jamestown community, and First Community Credit Union is extremely honored to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Your program is not put together by mistake. To show you as an illustration of community partnership, we put two banks right beside each other who share their headquarters here in town. Unison Bank stepped up to be our Booster Club sponsor and Booster Club Suite. Would you welcome 1984 graduate of Jamestown College and President and CEO of Unison, Kelly Rachel.
Steve, I won't get into bank and credit union banter today. Although all that being aside, Steve and I are very good friends. Rob Leck congratulated me on wearing something blue and orange today, and my business wardrobe is a little limited, so this is as good as it gets. And quite honestly, I knew I couldn't keep up with Todd Steinwan anyway with that orange jacket. So when Brett called me to speak at today's event, it took my mind back to approximately 15 years ago when a group of individuals came together to assess Ernie Gates Field and the vision for the future. We looked at a variety of options, but one of those strongly desired by the committee was a joint venture between Jamestown Public Schools and the University of Jamestown to create a first-class facility for the entire community that included both the Jimmies and the Blue Jays. Although it's taken 15 years from that initial meeting and eventually a crumbling track that was deemed unusable for that vision to become a reality, today we get to celebrate this awesome facility. My wife Mary and I are both graduates back then of Jamestown College. My wife was an elementary teacher at Jamestown Public Schools. Our kids were Blue Jays. I have a daughter that's a Jimmy. And we are extremely, extremely excited about this stadium and its future possibilities. And I trust that you and your families are as excited as we are as well. Now, we all certainly realize that a joint project of this magnitude doesn't happen without cooperation, concessions, and compromise by all the stakeholders at the table. One of the many sayings recently I've put out is vision without execution is simply hallucination. So to the many individuals, too numerous to name, who put the interest of the student athletes at the forefront of their decision process, we say thank you. Your leadership, vision, and yes, your execution were essential in achieving this beautiful outcome. As a major donor to this facility, the collaborative effort between the University of Jamestown and Jamestown Public Schools made our decision easy as a project that we desired to support. The goal for all of us is a vibrant and growing community. Therefore, whether it be recent projects like the Two Rivers Activity Center, the beautiful Newman Arena on the Hill, or now the Charlotte and Gordon Hansen Stadium, these are what I like to call the quality of life mile markers for Jamestown. COVID has certainly changed our world in multiple ways, including the mindset of many individuals and the ways they want to work, and also the ways in which students desire to learn. Facilities such as this have far-reaching impacts way beyond the next sporting event. From an economic standpoint, for our entire community, remember the days of the El Castle relays when every team in North Dakota came here and wanted to compete. We can now do that again. And personally, I had no idea of the value of a 9-lane versus an 8-lane track. I guess it really matters. And from a human and capital standpoint, as Steve and myself and others in the community attempt to hire people, The options for young families to consider Jamestown for employment, for their kids to go to Jamestown Public Schools, and for the university to attract bright young high school graduates from across the country to obtain a high-quality degree that hopefully our local businesses can hire upon graduation. In dealing with the reality of all those facts, facilities such as this one advance the mission of making our community, our schools, and our university even more desirable for students and families to come, study, work, and play, yes, all in person again, with the ultimate goal that they will stay and decide to call Jamestown home. For the past 56 years, Unison Bank has been a proud partner in the region to a multitude of projects, and we are extremely proud to be a part of this one as well. As an organization, we've been blessed through the efforts of an awesome and dedicated staff, and we are therefore honored to give back to such an important component of our community. Please remember, it's all of us working together that will make this a growing and more vibrant place for future generations to study, get a degree at UJ, get a job here, raise your family, send your kids to Jamestown schools, and hopefully even consider retiring here. The comments I've heard recently here while attending football games were simply phenomenal regarding the facility. Good friend of mine, Tom Berger, I don't know if you're here today, Tom, he always likes to say, winning may not be everything, but nobody's ever proven to me the benefits of losing. So with that in mind, again, go Jimmies, go Blue Jays, let's put some more W's in the win column, and when you're here, make sure you enjoy some time in the Unison Bank Booster Room. Thank you. Is that yours or mine?
I'd like to welcome a philanthropist for many years here in the community of Jamestown, here along with your husband, Ruben, the sponsors and donors of the Ruben and Clara Slichty President's Suite. Clara Slichty, a fellow Churches Ferry, North Dakota native. If anybody knows where that's at, that's where Clarice and I are both from. So Clarice, would you share a few words?
Good afternoon, and I am so happy that Polly, Dr. Peterson, made a comment about my athletic ability, or what was it? When I told Richard and Jamie, who are here today, who live in the Detroit, Michigan area, that we were going to, or maybe we had at that time, given to this stadium and the football field for Blue Jay and the Jimmies and the track, they just laughed and said, "Mother, you don't even go to football games." And my experience with the Blue Jays, I went to one over in Ernie Gates when our son was in the high school band, and they were playing there, and right away at the first of the game, someone broke their leg. So I've not been over there again, and and I haven't been here, and they say, "You don't even walk." So, but I'd like to bring you back a few years to 1883, when the Presbyterians, I understand, designated this as a college for them. And in 1983, I graduated from Jamestown College. Now, Mr. Tarnasky, Bill Tarnasky, who is here today, he looked at me when I told him that, you know, Kelly, I'll call him Kelly, graduated in 1984. Well, I was what we called better than average student. There was a small group of us there. But it the college was ready to close in 1983. And then they brought on Dr. Walker, Mr. Seibold, and there were many other of the board of trustees. And then Seibold Hall was built, and then Prentice Hall was built. So it's been a long time of building up this college from a time when it was thinking of closing. And the University of Jamestown has always carried through with their Christian ethics and their enthusiasm. Richard was in band here. He wasn't in sports, but college is more than just this field. We have Voorhees Chapel. We have Mrs. Ryland, who gave the I forgot even now what it was. Is called the theater area and all things that people need in their life to live good, ethical lives and be a benefit to the college or to be a benefit to society. But I'd like to mention the Farmers Union, who when I was mayor one evening, I got a call from a gal who worked there, and she said, "Did you know that Farmers Union was going to leave our city?" And I said, "No." So we got to work. One of the things Ruben and I we went to, besides all the other work that was done, Ruben and I went to Williston to their Farmers Union Insurance Convention, because they were the ones, I understand, Steve, who could say yes or no whether they were going to leave our city. And they voted to stay. Thank you, Steve. But it's the city of Jamestown, the businesses that are here, the people who did stay, Farmers Union. We have Ann Carlson Center, which they need the college here to train their nurses, to train others to work with them. But I would like to thank my husband, Ruben, who after, last year was his 65th year of farming on his own, and that brought us the money to give to this. Thank you, dear. And he lets me spend it however I want. So we have motivation, the motivation to change this, and the minds, the people who brought their minds to put this all together, and then they have the money that comes. So we're all important, whether you give $1, $10, or how much money. Everything is important because everyone is important. Thank you all who have built this university. I do want to mention it was Dr. Walker, then Dr. Badal, who was the head of the college, moving us along, and now Dr. Peterson, who has made an amazing college for us, your university. Thank you for their giving, and thank you for your giving of your treasures for this university.
Our last donor to speak today is one of the most decorated athletes in Jamestown high school history. I don't know if you know your impact that you had on many people growing up in my age, Darren. I grew up and I graduated high school in 1999. But as a young boy, you gave a lot of inspiration to athletes around this state that you didn't even know you did. And to give back to your hometown after a long time playing, a long time coaching, we're grateful here. Erstead Field is over on the high school campus, and also the beautiful Blue Jay that greets you when you come into the stadium alongside the Knight to represent the partnership we have here together. Would you welcome back to our community of Jamestown, Darren Erstead.
I rarely dust off the yearbook or live in the past, but running into Coach Michael and Coach Clark and being on this track, I literally threw up in my mouth a little bit thinking about 10 200s, 10 400s. And by the way, the reason I pole vaulted was so I didn't have to do those anymore. But yeah, and then this turf, this would have been nice in the semifinal game against Red River when we played 35 below. It was a hockey rink out there. Just unbelievable facility. And to use one of Steve's words, popped in my head sitting here, was opportunity and experiences. This community basically has given myself and my family everything. And we're just honored to be able to give back. But what I think about the memories and experiences we had here and the opportunities that the great coaches and just the support from not just our fans, but from our family, we're in a position in the business of creating those same opportunities and experiences for the next wave of kids and the next wave of kids after them. And when Dustin got a hold of me and reached out to Brett and Paulie and started talking to us about this, I mean, I was saying yes before they even finished. And for Rolo to kind of talk me through some of the stuff, we're in a position now where it's like, all right, so many things in your life you have, and you had those opportunities and experiences, and now for all you kids up there that are ready to get out of here and done listening to people talk, these facilities are for you. Now it's your job to go out there and do something with it, okay, and create your own experiences, because the facilities are in place for you to do that. And I'm super pumped to get to watch the game tonight and a little bit of the game tomorrow. And I want to thank my family. My wife Jessica's here with two of our kids, Jordan and Adam. Our middle one has hockey games tomorrow, so he didn't come. Jess's mom, Marge, is here with her stepdad, Carl, and my folks are somewhere around here, my mom and dad. So it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be part of this project, and yeah, I'm going to get out here and start crying. Thanks.
And our last speaker today, we felt it'd be important for you to hear a student testimony. Christopher Saylor is a graduate of Jamestown High School, and he's in the process of getting his degree here at the University of Jamestown. He participated in track and field as a Blue Jay and football as a Blue Jay, and now he's doing the same as a Jimmy, both on our football team and on our track and field team. Chris Saylor.
Thank you, Brett. I remember it like yesterday. My little brother and I packing up our backpack with our cleats and a football to sneak down to Raleigh-Greenough Field. Living only a block from the stadium, on the same block, I might add, as the Hansen house, this stadium was my second home. Whether it be competing in youth track meets, sneaking in to play two-hand touch football, competing in track and field for the Blue Jays, and now doing the same for the Jimmies, this facility holds a special place in my heart. This stadium not only means so much to me, but it means so much for this community. It provides our present and future athletes a place to showcase their skills and make our community proud. I want to thank each one of our donors. Without your generosity, this dream could never have become a reality. When I look upon this beautiful facility, I see the commitment that our community has to its students. I've never seen a community as supportive and invested as ours is, and I am extremely grateful to be part of it. I additionally would like to thank our administrators and our coaches for organizing this process and formulating the plan that made this dream become a reality. Your hard work has not gone unnoticed. This stadium impacts the students and the community of Jamestown in so many ways. While I'm going to miss the challenge of dodging the holes in the track, getting caked in mud during football games, and strategically luring my opponents into gopher holes while running the football, your generosity provides a safer and more memorable experience for all our student athletes. No longer will teams say, "Great, we have to come to Jamestown and play." No longer will we wait hours for Bismarck Century to accept our field and let us play the football game. Those days are over. This facility allows our football teams to practice and play on turf and evens out the playing field. Our track and field facilities allow for better team camaraderie. Every event is close by. Instead of walking all the way to the other side of campus to support our throwing events, it's just right up the hill. Instead of a 400-meter sprint up the stairs, through the parking lot to the jumping pits, they're right over there. Charlotte and Gordon Hansen Stadium creates a better experience for everyone. I'm so humbled by the dedication this community has to our student athletes, and this stadium will serve as a reminder of that for so many years to come. I can't wait to see what the future holds for this community, and I am so excited to continue competing in this stadium. Once again, I'd like to thank every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. As Hall & Oates would say, you making my dreams come true. Thank you. At this time, we're going to go through a time of recognizing all major donors, all 87 of them, to the project. We have a gift for you today. We're not going to make you all come all the way down here. We have our student athletes are going to give you your gift. Would you hold your applause to the end? It's kind of like the last 5 minutes of church here. So hold on a little bit, and our student athletes are going to come give you your gift. They're a little bigger than we thought, and they're iron. So take precautions as you leave today. Our donors in the $500,000 and above category, Chris is going to present those up here. Dr. Joida C. Hansen, would you stand? First Community Credit Union, represented by Steve Schmitz and your executive team here today. Will Bernhagen, would you stand? Jim Johnson, would you stand? Stay standing, Willie. Our student athletes are going to come give you your gift. Ruben and Clarice Lichty, will you please stand? And Unison Bank, represented by CEO and President Kelly Rachel. Let's give that donor group a hand. Our donors in the $250,000 to $500,000 category, Darren and Jessica Ersted, Bart and Catherine Holliday, Jim and Modine McCullough, and Sanford Health, represented by John Lilliard, Bruce Weissman, and Jordan Otteson. And Greg Steeman. Our donors in the $100,000 to $250,000 category, would you please stand? Steve and Kathy Beets. Farmers Union Insurance, represented by Mark Anderson and Jason Wells. And TMT Farms, the Wanzik family. Our donors in the $50,000 to $100,000 category, Bank Insure Tax Forward, represented by Jason Bitts. Steve M. and Tamara M. Braunberger. Dennis and Trudy Brennan. Also in that category, Dr. Merle and Peggy Foss, Gary and Karen Mayhew, Leo and Carrie Ness, Otter Tail Power Company, represented by Jeremy Ram. He's up here, guys. Jeremy Ram up there. Great blue shirt there, Jeremy. Gary and Patty Purath. Sherbinski, represented by Steve Adelson, Shane Kurtz, and David Hilbert. R.M. Stout, represented by Casey and Sue Stout. Paul and Colette Sukit. Dr. William and Myrna Tarnaski. And Jim and Candy Unruh. Would you give those donors a hand? In our $25,000 to $50,000 category, Dr. Paul and Connie Abrahamson. Bull Iron Works, represented by Brad and Corey Bull. Brad Braunberger. Dakota Central, represented by Holly Utke and Brianna Partlow. Eventide, represented by Doug Panchot. Loyson Eye Care, represented by Steve and Alex Loyson. Orn Family Dentistry, represented by Carrie Orn. Bob and Jacinta Piatz. Russ and Carol Schmeichel. Jim and Mary Seavrud. And Wilhelm Chevrolet Buick GMC, represented by Rod and Sandy Wilhelm. Would you give those donors a hand? Our donors
In the $10,000 to $25,000 category, Ag Country Farm Credit Services, represented by Adam Pilgrim and Samantha Beckley. Wendy Bannister and Amber Fredrickson. David and Whitney Bruns. Billy Dixon. Kathy and Dwayne Ensminger and family. Lonnie and Rhonda Urbis. Bruce and Lorraine Furness. A lot of Gundersons. Jerry Gunderson, Robert and Gail Gunderson, Tom and Marjorie Gunderson, and Tom and Janelle Gunderson. Jim and Julie Hausler, Joe and Elaine Hegland, the Holsworth family, represented by Bill and Lorna Holsworth, John S. Jensen, Nadine Kynes family and Chad Kynes, the Knights of Columbus, represented by Jay Schmitz and Tim Cockle, Chester and Katie Kurtz, watching online, Cy and Martha Lichty, Alan and Ginny Lindberg, John Lindberg, Bernie and Marilyn Lipp, Chris and Amy Lipp, Heather Lipp and Jeff Oakland, Tom and Elisa Mahan, Erica Moyce and Sabrina Scott, watching online, David and Stacy Muse. I'm going to announce my kids to represent myself and my wife, Annika, Elena, Autumn, and Annabelle Moser. The Nias family, represented by Kurt and Corey Nias. Chris and Michelle Nias. Dr. Jim and Carol Olson. Darren and Barb Orr, representing Darren and Barb today is Maddie Orr. You're here today. Dr. Polly and Darren Peterson. Scott and Connie Peterson. J.R. Price, Rebecca Price Spaeth, Remax Now, Beth Keller and James Jensen, Frank and Jeanette Redlin, David and Jennifer Schmeichel, Donald Schmeichel, Alex and Arlene Schweitzer, Jessica Schweitzer and Dr. Micah Thorlickson, Dr. Justin and wife Nissa Schweitzer. Justin is represented by Paige and Luke today. Dale and Mona Shook. Todd and Shelley Steinwand. Dan and Ann Stout. Clifford Wexel. Clark Wold. Mark and Cheryl Wolf. And Jeff and Terry Young. I know I went through that list very quickly, and thank you for bearing with us as our student athletes get you your gift. I'm going to turn the program back over to our athletic director, Sean Johnson.
Wow, what a day. In closing, actually, sorry about that. I grabbed the wrong script. We have to do one really important thing. I'm going to wait till we get all the. I'm going to wait till all the awards are handed out before we do this. If you'll take a moment, please, and stop what you're doing, I'd like to invite the University of Jamestown Director of Campus Ministries, Kirsty Dobson, to come to the stadium, or come to the podium and bless the stadium for us, please.
Bow your heads with me, please. Father, we thank you for your faithful love that never ends and your mercy which never ceases. They are new every morning. We know that you are God. You created the heavens and the earth and put everything in its place. You made the world to be lived in. You are the creator, and there is no other. We have prayed bold prayers, and you have kept bold promises, Lord. We thank you for giving our leaders the vision to build, for we know that you are the true visionary. Thank you, God, for providing the resources, for we know that all that we have comes from you. Thank you, Father, for being the protection around our campus, our students and families, and those involved in the construction of this new facility, for we can see your hand in every phase and stage. Father, please bless this new stadium for the good of our Jimmy family and the families in this area. Thank you for the blessings that you continue to pour out upon us, upon this campus, and upon our community. Provide wisdom and courage so that we may all be used for your glory and to bring you praise. We are grateful, as you are the one who is over all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Jamestown Chamber of Commerce, Emily Bivens.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. We need to cut a ribbon. Thank you all for coming. I'm Emily Bivens with the Jamestown Area Chamber. I want to start by thanking the University of Jamestown and Jamestown Public Schools for being members of the Jamestown Area Chamber and investing not only in their future, but the future of our entire community. Today's ribbon cutting ceremony is a tangible reminder of the vision and the commitment that the University of Jamestown and Jamestown Public Schools has for our community. The Jamestown Area Chamber members, ambassadors, and young professionals are here to lift up and celebrate that vision and commitment with the ceremonial cutting of the ribbon. The cutting of this ribbon signifies a new beginning and the obstacles overcome to reach this moment. I have heard all of the excitement, and I definitely feel the excitement here today as we celebrate this amazing new feature for our community. So as a representative of the Chamber and our community, I congratulate everyone here on this awesome stadium, and thank you all for helping make this project a reality. At this time, I want to invite our Chamber ambassadors, and I believe the school board and the Board of Trustees for the University of Jamestown down to the field to cut the ribbon.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Please join us tonight at Charlotte and Gordon Hansen Stadium as the Blue Jays host Mandan, and tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the University of Jamestown hosts Concordia University at 1 o'clock. Reminder, again, come down for the ribbon cutting. Following this ribbon cutting, there will also be a ribbon cutting at Jamestown High School for Erstad Field. Also want to remind the Cabinet and the Board of Trustees to come down for pictures. And then if you would also join Dr. Peterson for pictures up on Jim Johnson Plaza. And also we have lunch on Jim Johnson Plaza as well. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for your patience. Go Jimmies, go Blue Jays.
Alrighty. Here we go.
Tell us who you want with the chamber ambassadors.
Yeah. You guys all line up. We'll be on the outside. We know the drill.
Hey, do we want to do it this way?
Yeah, flip it around. Flip it around. Take care. Brad, good to see you. Yeah, take care. Logan.